Keeping your money is about growing it, it's about protecting it with the right instrument and the right tools.
Finances. Why does it matter? Because money is not about what you earn, it's about how well you manage it. Financial literacy gives you control over your future, help you prevent debts, and allow you to build a generational wealth. It means that the future of your children, of your family, are secured. And to join me talk about this topic that is rarely discussed or taught in school, I'm joined by the expert, Mr. Edem Amewowor. Mr. Amewowor has been in the financial field for over 15 years. He's a financial expert, he's the coach, he's an advisor. And we are excited to have him with us to help us build our foundation all about financial literacy. Thank you for joining us
Thank
today.
you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and I really look forward to diving into the conversation.
Amazing. Fantastic. And what is really exciting is this is not just going to be one video.
Yes, that's true.
It is going to be a series. And we are looking at possibly a series that is over 10 series or even more. So Edem, let's start with the basics. Why is financial literacy very important?
Good question. So financial literacy isn't really about the figures. It's about having the knowledge and also the confidence to make the right financial decision. Financial literacy is really about having the basic knowledge of the concept of things like inflation, interest rate, credit management, and also the risk management that comes with it. Often people think that financial literacy is really about making money and then also building wealth, but that's one side of it. But really, it's about keeping your money, it's about growing it, it's about protecting it with the right instrument and the right tools that's available out there. And then just to add to this as well, that finally, financial literacy, the power behind it is really about the practical aspect of it. It's about the application of creating a workable budget. It's also really about ensuring that, well, apart from creating the budget is actually working for you, but also so much about the effective management of loans, mortgages, and then also ensuring that you've got the right skills to be able to pay the loan and the mortgages off as quickly as possible. And it's a skill to have, it's a discipline that comes with it. And also further, the literacy is really about managing credit responsibly and saving and investing for the long term. I'm not talking about long term, I'm talking about really looking at the retirement and beyond. And when you have these skills and you are able to have the discipline to really manage it, all of it together, you can't go wrong.
That's very interesting. And I love what you spoke about, that financial literacy goes beyond earning money and talking about inflation. I'm sitting here going, right choices to pay off debts early.
Yeah.
You're going to go into detail about this in one of the series when we're talking about debt management.
That's right.
But what I would love to even find out a bit more about is, do we really have to pay off our mortgage early? Because I also know that there are messages out there, which is own more debt in your asset and release your equity to invest more. So we would love to hear what your insight is on, do we need to pay off the mortgage early, or do we need to release the equity to gain more asset? Very interesting.
Yeah.
Right, I'll hold on for that.
Yeah,
if you are watching and you want to find out more, make sure not to miss any video. Subscribe, and you will find out in the series as we delve right into that. But let's talk about something else. I'm just thinking, could you break down the 5 pillars of financial literacy for us?
Absolutely. So the 5 pillars of financial literacy is, the first one is earning and then budgeting. So when I'm talking about earning and budgeting, it's really about sources of income and really creating, again, I'm going to use the word workable budget that is really personable to your
I
circumstances.
like the workable budget. Where the money is going? Tell me about it. Where is it going?
If it's coming from somewhere and it's going somewhere, you really have got to really place your hand on it. Really is very important. So that's the first pillar of financial literacy.
Okay.
And then we've got the aspect of saving, creating the financial safety net really for yourself to ensure that you've got a backup at any point in time. And then we're going to talk more about it as well. And then we've got the aspect of investing. So investing really about making sure that your money is working for you and actually growing for you. Because if you work for really, your money should be working for you. The pillar of financial literacy is about credit management. It's understanding and improving your credit score, because as I'm talking about, to be the UK, we are in a credit system society. It's not a cash system. So ensuring that you've got the right level of credit score goes a long way to how much you can access various things in the market. And when I'm talking about the market, I'm talking about the financial market or the money market. And then the last aspect of financial literacy, I'm talking about the pillars here, is about wealth protection. It's about using insurances and also estate planning to safeguard the things that are quite dear to you. So there we go. These are the 5 literacy.
So I'm just quickly going to recap that. So we've got earning and budgeting, one, saving, investment, credit management, and wealth protection.
Spot on.
Investing. And I think that can be quite tricky, because sometimes you don't know, where do you invest? And if you are somebody that, of course, you're a bit, then you should be cautious. So where do you invest? And I'm excited that you are going to do a right deep dive into looking at forms of investing.
That's right. We're going to go in there.
Talking about having migrated from Ghana to the UK, where the system in Ghana is completely different.
Quite.
I think that was a bit of a shock. I was thinking, what does that mean? And you have to really learn to know that you can't just mismanage your credit in that way. And to get into the series, we are excited.
Yes.
What are the biggest financial mistakes you see people making?
So, chief of it all is not having a budget and then living beyond your means, trying to please the Joneses. Seriously, who are you trying to live to impress? And these are the same people who come back and not even care about whether you drink water or you don't eat anything to sleep. So that's the chief of it all, not having a budget and living beyond your means. Then this, the other aspect of it is not saving for emergencies. I cannot tell you how important this is. Because if you don't have an emergency fund, you end up basically spending money that you don't have, having unexpected expenses which will come, and then you find yourself all over the place. And it shouldn't really be so if you do have an emergency fund available.
And is there an amount that you need to really have as your emergency fund? Is that dependent on your income, or how does that work?
Not necessarily. So there's various ways to look at that when it comes to emergency funds. We've got, I always say that we've got 3 sort of different category of people. We've got those who are sort of beginning really to have or understand the whole thing about financial literacy and management. We've got those who dip their toes into it and say, this is it, this is right for me, I'm in the right direction, so the intermediary. And we've got those who's just like the expert, advanced, and they've also got a level as well. If you are really a beginner, and I'll say really, we're talking about 400 to about 800 pounds of your monthly expenditure, or look at the most expensive expenditure within your budget, and then save towards that same amount of money aside for as your emergency fund. Then,
so let's say you have a mortgage, for instance.
If you have a mortgage and you started the whole thing about financial literacy and financial management, let's start with that. Let your emergency fund be equivalent to the value of your monthly mortgage.
And would you want it to be just 1 month, or could it be a case of you saving 3 months?
This is where the intermediate level comes in.
Oh, I see.
So you start with that and over time build it to the intermediate level whereby it's almost like a rule of thumb, really, whereby it's 3 to 6 times your monthly expenditure. Then from there, we've got those who are saying, you know what, I want to make sure that I'm comfortable, that no matter the rain, shine, or the storm or hailstone, I'm covered. I've got a cushion there. They basically save up to 12 months of their monthly expenditure. That's the expert.
See why, guys, I want us to get to the expert.
Or sometimes we call them the general rule of thumb, really. And always make sure that if you do go into emergency fund, you replenish it. And replenish it so that you don't find yourself again wanting if an unexpected expenses come up that you know. That's generally about the emergency fund. Really.
Wow. I'm sure many listeners can really relate and see the value in this. I have got one question.
Yeah.
So let's say someone is trying to pay off debts. Would you encourage them to either pay the debt or still save for the emergency fund?
I would say there's those various levels. So make sure as much as you are saving, you also pay, as much as you paying off the debt, you also have that emergency fund saved as well. Do both so that at least, because when you're paying off, it's like a financial goal, but then the car might break down once you're paying off the debt. The fridge might break down once you're paying off the debt.
And then you get yourself back into the cycle of debt.
So make sure as much as you're paying off the debt, focusing on that, and again, have a plan. That's why it's so much important you have the plan. So have the plan to pay off the debt, but at the same time as well, just have the flexibility within your finances to put money aside for the emergency fund, because it's so critically important when it comes to money management.
Fantastic.
A few mistakes that people make. So not having a budget or living beyond your means. Not saving for emergencies. Then also sometimes, and some of the mistakes I've seen people actually make is that they ignore their credit score whilst living in the UK. You can't not having a budget or living beyond your means, not saving for emergencies. Then also sometimes, and some of the mistakes I've seen people actually make is that they ignore their credit score whilst living in the UK. You can't ignore credit score unless you decide to basically do everything cash. But really, why would you want to do cash? Really,
it's not a cash community.
It's not a cash system to utilize to build your wealth. So utilize it. If you make it work for you, you can't go wrong with it. So don't ignore your credit score. When people ignore it and they don't do the things that they need to do to build it up, you find out that when the time comes for them to access credit, then it becomes an issue. Then all the money perhaps they would have saved for a different sort of objective or goal, they begin to have to utilize it, or it takes them longer to reach that goal.
Because they are not credit worthiness. It costs them even more.
That's right. So cost them even more, or to have recourse to even utilize cash, which they shouldn't have to. So that's important. And then the other also mistake as well is failing to invest. It's not really about saving, and you can save, but again, if you want your money to grow, you have to invest. Talking about the long term, not just the short term investing. Because if you leave your money in a savings account, at the moment we're talking about high street bank giving 2%. 1%, some even give you 0.50. Well, but if you invest in your money and the money is working for you, you realize growing wealth, which is inflation. It can work against your money that is in the bank account. And I want to use the word quite politically correct, but I don't call savings account really savings account.
You call it shaving account.
I call it a savings account.
I think most of the finance experts call it that way.
I call it a savings account.
Savings account.
You put your hard work money in the bank
and they
account,
shave it off.
And they're giving you 2%. Inflation is 4%, whatever. And
value.
And instead of the money growing, inflation is shaving your money off.
So shaving accounts, guys.
Yeah. So
don't put your money there.
Don't put the money in the savings account. Then end up regretting. Yeah, so that's another mistake I see people make. And the other thing as well is that lack of the appropriate or the proper insurances in place. And just to buttress this point, I just want to give an example, a real life scenario. A client of mine that I had, a young client, and probably, he has saved money, and we were helping him to get on the property ladder. So he got to the point whereby he had all the money in place. So the time came whereby he found the right house, and then he took the money and then put down a deposit for the house. So he got the first house. We were excited for him. He was excited. The family were all excited.
Such a good feeling.
It's a good feeling to get a property, that first property in your 20s.
Wow.
It's amazing. But then we did a financial plan, and I kept talking about ensuring that you have some form of income protection in place. We kept talking about it. Say, oh, Edem, at the right time. Now let's focus on the house. It's important, but you got to make sure that you've had the foundation, because you are the cash machine of your life.
That's right.
If the cash machine is not working, there's no money that's going to come anywhere. You can't draw money from anywhere. So if not working to ensure that money is coming through, you're going to buy the house. Good news. If anything happens, unforeseen circumstances happen, where's the money going to come from to be able to pay the house off? And so we kept talking about it, kept ignoring. So bought the house, all good news, hallelujah. And then it came, and then immediately after buying the house, for unknown reason, he got a health report of having fibrosis. And then, so that was the diagnosis that came out, and it came out, it was so severe that he couldn't actually work. So there was that. So his company basically was able to pay him the sick pay for 3 months, and afterwards they tapered it, and then it just ended. And then there was the other aspect as well, is that it wasn't just that. A few months down the line, apart from sort of the health news that came through, his company went through restructuring. Then when the company went through restructuring, it meant that he had to be laid off. And so good news, and then all of these things started coming from unexpected. And that's what insurances are for. Unexpected. Nobody expects it to happen, but if it does happen, you've got to make sure that you've got the right place in place. But one of the things, the good thing that came off the back of it, the bank of mom and dad. So mom and dad intervened. And so we were able to save in terms of making sure that the mortgage payment was being kept up to date, because money wasn't coming from work. He was laid off. The money wasn't coming from anywhere else. But then if there was that income insurance in place, it meant that he was able to maintain the mortgage without any issues for as long as possible. Less stress. Exactly. And so it's so much important. So if people not having the right insurances in place is some of the mistakes I see people make when it comes to financial management or financial literacy. And when it happens, it's not really nice.
And I know we're going to be talking about much more in depth about this, but how scary is that? And also, like, if you don't have mom and dad, I've lost both parents. So in this circumstance, there's no mom and dad to contact. And I'm sure many of our listeners, you might be in the same situation as me, or you might have mom and dad, but they might not be in the position to be able to support.
That was the exact point I was going to make. That you have mom and dad, but what if they
don't have the capacity
to be able to support them? What would you do? So
this is why this is so important, that we all need to learn this financial literacy and put structures in place for us to avoid all these unforeseen circumstances and just have that security. It's such a good feeling when you know that, I don't have to worry about the mortgage or worry about my bills. Great. This is exciting, and this is just the beginning of our financial literacy series. Over the next few weeks, we will cover practical strategies to help you take control over your money. Here's the sneak peek of what's coming. So in episode 2, we are talking about, I think that's probably your favorite, because you just glow when it comes to that, creating a budget that really works.
That's right.
And then the next episode, we're looking right into credit score and how to improve yours. And
then we're going to be talking about smart savings strategy for building wealth. We'll also be talking about investing one-on-one.
Oh my gosh,
looking
amazing.
Forward to it, and we can't wait to have you really on board and to listen to what is in store.
Each episode will bring actionable steps and expert insight to help you make smarter financial decisions. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of this episode. If you had one financial tip that could change their life, what would it be?
I would say start today. No matter where you are financially, making small steps such as saving consistently each month, no matter how small, paying down your debt learning about investing can go a long way to how it can change your financial horizon. Really think about this. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. So start today.
Amazing. That's a great takeaway. Start today. If you are ready to take control of your financial future, here's what to do. Subscribe so you don't miss any of this financial wisdom we are about to share. Also, drop in the comments below what's your biggest financial challenge right now. We might have an idea to be able to support you on that.
Yeah.
So do comment below. And I would say if you would like to find out more about Edem's company, all the details will be below on this video. Join us in the next episode on 2, where we are talking about how to create a budget that works. I'm excited. I can't wait. All that nugget, I need it.